All right, guys, so I'm gonna show you guys how to make this hat right here. And this is a Roman numeral hat right here, and I'm gonna be using my multi-needle machine to do it. So let's get started. All right, so first and foremost, we wanna turn on our machine. Once you turn on the machine, the first thing you need to do is oil it. I got this oil bottle on Amazon, by the way. All right, now that my machine is oiled, the first thing that I need is my frame. Of course, we're also gonna need the hat. And for stabilizer, I'll be using this tearaway. I think it's like a 2.5 ounce or something like that. I'm not sure, but it's not the thickest one. It's really thin. All right, so I'm working on a video showing you guys how to do this part, but for now, I'm gonna do it fast. All right, so I just cut my stabilizer. And what I like to do is fold it in half so it gets thicker. So even though I'm not using a real thick one, it gets thicker once I fold it over. You're supposed to go all the way up here, they say, but it doesn't give me good leverage. So I always go back here to where the edge is right here. And what I like to do is clamp one side first and then start from that side and poke the holes through. And they don't have to poke all the way through. I just like poking them through just to know that it's locked in place a little bit better, but it don't really matter. All right, so now that I got the clamps holding on both sides, I can put the hat on. But I like to make sure that this part right here is cut so as close as it can be cut. Just like that. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna place the hat on. And once you place the hat on, then we're gonna reach underneath and grab the clamps so that we can clamp on top of the hat. Boom. All right, so now what we're gonna do is put this piece right here over, and we wanna get it to the edge of the hat. So wherever the edge of the hat is, that's where you want that piece to be. Just like so. And then we're gonna clamp it down at the bottom. And that should hold your hat in place. Once you have that, I would like to pull my hat down to ensure a smooth surface a little bit. And once we got that, then I grab the clamps that I mentioned earlier and pull this side gently and fold it underneath. Then I do the same on the other side. Just like so. And as you can see, there's a little bit of an extra fabric. So I can unclamp right there and smoothen that part out. Like so. And clamp it again. And that just helps with the embroidery so that there's no puckering in the embroidery when I'm embroidering, because I hate when my embroidery starts to pucker, because potentially that could cost me a whole hat. So taking the extra time to do this is vital if you don't want those problems. As you can see, there's a little bit of a ridge right here. What you want to do to get rid of that is push the brim forward. And sometimes you can't get rid of it completely, but it goes away a little bit at least. All right, so what we want to do now is pull this off and put it onto the machine. And in order to put it onto the machine, you don't put it this way. You tilt it to the side, and then you put it underneath the needles. Once you get it underneath the needles and back a little bit, you turn it back up, and then we can push it, and it should snap in place just like that. How I like to figure out how to write the date is I like to type in the date and then in Roman numerals on Google, and it usually shows you like how to write it in Roman numerals. You can also click on any of these links and they'll have like a calculator that shows you how to write it. This is how I like to write mine. So this site right here, everything-birthday.com, usually get it right because I realize I always click on this one and use this number right here. All right, so I believe that the font that I'm using today it's like a basic font, so I should be able to find it. Oh, I think this is it. So I believe it is block. Yeah, that looks more like it. And what you could do is screenshot this, the numbers. That way you can bring them into the program, and instead of having to go back and forth, you can now just look right there at it and type it exactly how you see it. And there you go. All I need is the dots now. And I'm gonna do those by putting a period on there. And once I get the period, then I can move these dots individually and bring them up where they need to be. Before, you could change your hoop by clicking somewhere up here, but now you gotta go to brilliance and settings. And I have some custom hoops right here. I got one for hats. This should be it. Apply, okay. And as you can see, this is a little bit too big for the hat. So, all right, so here we go. I'm gonna stretch it a little bit, and then I'm gonna pull the sides in. And because I stretched it, I know that I'm gonna have to put the satin stitches up a little bit more, just to prevent it from looking any type of wonky. All right, so once we have that, we can send it over to the machine. Let me start it up. And I'm gonna send the file over now. All right, now that we got it, let's put it to white because that only makes sense on a black hat, right? And we wanna play with it to make sure that it's at the right place. We don't want it too low, but we also don't want it all the way up high on the person's head, on top of their head. So we're gonna move it down a little bit. And then we're gonna trace it out to make sure it's just where we want it to be. Okay, we can move it up a little bit. I think that's where I want it. And then I'm gonna trace it again just to make sure. All right, that seems perfect to me, so let's get it started. So now I'm finished all that. All I gotta do is rip the stabilizer out, like so. And there you go. That's the finished product right there. And that's what it looks like.